Howdy YouTube, welcome to RV Daydream, and I've got yet another portable cooler refrigerator that I want to talk about. So let's get right to it. Let's try to make this quick.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream. This was sent to me from a company that has got the strangest name that I've ever seen. F40C4TMP. Yeah, it's a mouthful. I'll put a link down below for this. And also, pay attention to the links. There may be discounted links also down there. What this is a portable refrigerator or freezer, and I want to talk about how you're going to receive it, first of all. I'm not sure if it's shipped this way to everyone, but in my case, I had this box inside another box that was inside another box. It was triple overboxed, or double overboxed if you look at it, this being the original box. That's the best shipping I've ever seen. I want you to pay attention to these arrows up and it being a fragile potential breaking item, and that's for the shipping company. When I got this though, it was delivered to me upside down, so that's the first thing I want to talk about. When you get these things, if it has a compressor like this one does, let it sit. Don't plug it in. Don't run it immediately. Let it sit. I'm assuming that you can let it sit for about 6 hours. But in my case, I let it sit for the whole day. I let it sit for 24 hours. And the reason is because the oil that's inside the compressor, if it's upside down, that oil will be somewhere other than the compressor. And when you start it up, it's going to burn up the compressor because it's not going to have the oil in it that's needed to keep it cooled and lubricated. All right, let's look inside the box. Like I said, 2 boxes were over top of this, and then we open this up. It's just the same size all the way around. It looks like it's 1-inch foam, but it is high density, that's for sure. Let me go ahead and get this out of the box and see what it all comes with. It's not too big in size. I mean, you can see how it compares to our table. We do have a decent sized dinette here, but that's not too bad as far as the size. Let me get the dimensions for you. This thing is 22 inches long. It is about 13 inches this way and 11 inches high. So about the size of what you would think a normal cooler would be. I also wanted to talk about the weight. About 25 pounds. This is substantial. It has a compressor inside of it. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's open it up and see what's inside as far as what comes with it. All right, so we've got some packaging here. Looks like it's taped up pretty well. Let me go ahead and open this up. We've got a Ziploc bag here, which has a rather, this is pretty long. This is a pretty long cord. Cigarette lighter port, power port, whatever you want to call it. And of course, the plug-in that plugs into the refrigerator freezer. It does both. We'll talk about that. And then in the box, we have a little power brick, a converter brick, and this will allow you to run it on regular household current, 15 amp current. So it's pretty simple. These cords are pretty well made. They are UL listed, showing that it's a 10 amp 125 volt cord. That's good. And yeah, just a regular AC adapter, of course, same type of plug, again, just like that one there. Now inside the book, again, this is the company name, F40C4TMP. That's a crazy name. I wonder what that stands for. But anyways, refrigerator compressor from Germany. Now I know that this has, I think, one of those Dan Frost style compressors. I don't have anything that definitely, tells me that 100%, but that's like the leading compressor design that is used in a lot of refrigerator freezers. They're quiet, they're low energy draw, and they are known for durability. A lot of information in the manual. Make sure that you acquaint yourself with this as far as the instructions, what everything means, how it all works. There's a eco mode, there's a max mode. All that stuff can be explained in the manual, and basically what that does is allow you to do a quick freeze to get it to where you can set this up and drop the temperature fast, because most likely you may not keep this plugged in all the time. During your travels you probably will, but once you're done traveling you may put this away, and once you get it back out again you want to fire it up, make it as cold as possible right away. So that's why they have that max temperature. There's some sort of a film that's on here protecting all the buttons. Of course, you can remove that. That's fine. There's also a USB port. Of course, the USB port, in this case, is not for communicating with the refrigerator freezer, but charging. It is a charging port. The material on this is kind of reminds me of Little Tikes plastic. The one thing I want you to be aware of is this does have anti-slip rubber feet, and I mean they're pretty sturdy. As far as not wanting to move, I can move my whole table instead of moving this. I mean it's you can hear it. That's good. That's really good. The compressor's on this side underneath, so there's a little bit more weight on the right side than the left side. And then opening the lid, which it's a stiff lid, it's magnetic. I mean, you can see there's a snap to it right near the end, and it's sealed really well. You've got a rubber gasket that's all the way around, again, magnetic here. And I'm sure there's some magnetics. Yeah, I see a magnet thing right here that's underneath. And then the inside here, it's not removable, but it's an aluminum alloy that can be easily wiped out. Of course, you have a retainer here for overextension. And the other thing that they've got is this nice easy chart to let you know what the temperature should be set at if you're putting certain foods in here. We're going to go ahead and plug it in so we can take a look at the display. This can be either Celsius or Fahrenheit. Of course, in the US here, we're still stuck on the old imperial system, so we'll go ahead and fire it up and look at the imperial measurements and what it takes to move that around up and down, make it nice and cool. I like the way this feels, and I like the size. Now, you guys know that we did reviews on some bigger refrigerator freezers, but nothing could, I mean, I couldn't put those necessarily in my truck. This we will put in the back of my truck so we can get a good idea of what the size is, and we'll plug it in using the DC power because, of course, it can be powered by either or. One thing that a lot of these companies are doing is making it to where your power source is universal, and that's, of course, for use in other countries. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but DC 12 or 24 volts. So you can basically, if you have dual batteries and you're running a 24 volt system, maybe you're in a bus or a big truck or something like that, you can connect it and it will work. Of course, 12 volt is what most of us have, unless, again, you're into a bus or something like that. Now, if you're hooking it to AC voltage, this thing will go from 120 volt to 240 volt. Now, here's the thing with the 240 volt. There is a little bit of a difference there, and that is you will have to buy a cord instead of your normal plug like this. You'll have to get a plug that is shaped like that on the end that will go into this input, for this adapter that will plug into 240. But other than that, this adapter will handle 240. It says right on it. So you just need to buy the cord that's needed to connect to the AC/DC adapter, but you don't need to worry about anything else other than that. I want to make sure I get this right. I don't know if you've seen it when I held it up, but there's a switch here. And basically underneath the switch says battery protection. Now, there's a 15 amp fuse over here that's going to protect the overall circuit, but this will protect your battery if you're hooked up to DC voltage. We're going to try it out on AC first, then we'll go ahead and go to DC, but each one of these positions, you have low, medium, and high, will shut off the power that's powering this cooler refrigerator, so you don't run your battery too low and destroy the batteries. So let me tell you what each one of these settings is for as far as voltage wise. If you have it plugged into 12 volts and you have that switch in the high position, at 12.5 volts, everything's fine as far as the battery's concerned. If you get to 11.3 volts, it will shut the unit down to protect your battery. If you have it set on medium, 11.4 volts and above, it's on. But if it gets all the way down to 10.1 volts, it will shut off again to protect itself. And then low level, 10.9 volts is when it's on. And then on the low end of that, 9.6 volts. I don't know if I'd let it get down to 9.6 volts. That's pretty low for a battery, for an automotive battery. Now, of course, the 24 volt system, those switches mean something different. Since I'm not going to be doing anything to do with 24 volts, you can look that up in their manual. It'll tell you. Now, unlike my other refrigerator freezers, this just has the one plug-in port for both the AC voltage and the DC voltage. So you're either running on battery or you're running on household current. Now, I don't have a problem with that because actually that would probably be kind of nice because I can leave my household plug in the RV if we're going to be in the RV a lot. And then as far as the truck is concerned, I can always leave the power port, the 12 volt power, I can leave it inside the truck. Most likely this is going to stay in the truck, and we're going to utilize it as basically a cooler that you don't ever have to put ice in, which I think is awesome. So let's go ahead and plug this in. Let's see what the display looks like, and we'll talk about that. Let me go ahead and flip on the power strip that this is plugged into. Actually, some really nice lighting. It's not crazy. It's not too bright. I still have that protective film on here. I'm real big about leaving that stuff on. Plus, it protects it from getting scratched. I do like that there's a lock setting here. I'll talk about that here in a second, but that's pretty awesome because you may be setting stuff down on this cooler. You can see here, there's provisions for cup holders, and then even over in this area, there's a textured area that you might set something down on that's recessed. You might accidentally set it on the power switch or something like that, so that's what that lock is for. Let's go ahead and turn this on, take a look at it. Of course, it's just a real nice, it's not a button, it's just a touch screen. I don't know if you can hear that. Holy cow, is that loud? Not. Very quiet. Very, very quiet. So much more than I am. So let me be quiet here and let you listen to it while I grab the manual so we can look at some of these changes here we can make. You're probably more likely to hear traffic than anything else. To change this over to Fahrenheit, you're going to either push the plus or the minus at the same time as this set lock key, which is the second one down in this display panel here. So let's go ahead and switch it back to Celsius. So let's go ahead and do the plus with the set. You can see now we're at 6. It's showing that it's 6 Celsius. So let's go ahead and go back up to the Fahrenheit. That makes more sense to me. So right now it's saying max 43. Let's go ahead and drop that down. I got it set at -8 degrees. That's the lowest you can get in Fahrenheit, guys, to let you know. -8. And that's really comparable with a lot of the other refrigerators I've done reviews on. It will be -8 is the lowest that you can set it at. You can see now it's currently 42 inside. Not a big surprise because the RV, we've had the air on here, or the heat on, it's 66 degrees. So it is a little bit cooler, but it is running. So it's going to drop that temperature, as you can see now, already to 42. Okay, so what I've done here is turned off the lights so you can see the display a little bit better whenever it illuminates. I know it's a little bit dark right now, but you have basically just a few buttons here. You have your power button, which you hold for a few seconds to turn it on. This is the set button or the lock button. Let's go ahead and show you what that looks like. You have max and eco that you can switch back and forth. I've got it on eco right now. And once you set it on eco or max, either or, if you give it a few seconds, it will lock itself automatically. Now there's a few things, yeah. So you can see there, it went ahead and went to the lock position now. So there's a few things as far as troubleshooting. It says if you have any problem, there's a number that you can call. That's in the manual. There are some emails that you can also use or utilize. Basically, their return policy is anything from Amazon. It's 30 days from the receipt of the shipment. Other than that, if you have any problems within 6 months of owning this, there's a process that you go through to get it to where they might be able to help you out. As far as you have to take a picture, you have to show your order ID or talk about your order ID, and then you got to describe the problem. You do that all through Amazon, through their service mailbox, and at that point they can move forward with you. Now here's the thing, if you have a problem with this after the 6-month mark, when you're buying this, whenever you're purchasing this originally, this could be considered a relatively decent investment. There are service plans that Amazon offers up to like 5 years that you can buy during your purchase, and at that point that will take care of the repair if any repairs are needed. But it's got a pretty good compressor on it. I mean, it's a real legit compressor. I don't think that there's much that can go wrong with this other than if you abuse this. Now, one thing I always tell everybody is just because it looks like a Coleman cooler, whatever you want to call it, your regular beer cooler, you can't treat it like a regular beer cooler. it's got components in it that are, you know, sensitive to that stuff. Would I take this out on a Jeep trail? No. It's got a real compressor in there. I think it would beat it up pretty good. Would I take it in an RV? For sure. Would I take it in our truck? Absolutely. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and move this thing over to the truck, and we're going to try it out that way. But first, let's see what kind of size of stuff we can put inside here. So you can see the standard bottle that you always get at Walmart. You know, no big deal. Oh my God, they're already... I wondered why the bottles were collapsing. I just put them in there and they're already... they're collapsing because they're cooling off. You can kind of see the cooling fins already. Oh, it's definitely cold in here. Wow. I like that it's a top. I mean, most of them are. That keeps the cool air in when you got it open like this. But getting back to the size here, let's see how many bottles we can go in this direction. Using this too, it'll be a little tricky. So we got 1, 2, this will be the third one, fourth one, fifth one. Okay, so we're definitely 5 across that way. And then this way, we 1, 2, 3. So we're definitely 15. You can put 15 water bottles upright in here. So if you guys are doing the old soccer mom thing and you're responsible for your drinks and that, 15, you can put 15 in there. I'm sure this way we could get even more. They said that you can get 28 soda cans in here. Yeah, you definitely could get 3 in this direction, but I don't think then, well, you'd have to stand up a couple. Yeah, I could see where you could actually get a decent amount here for a road trip. That's all we're wanting to use it for, is a road trip. But you can use it as a freezer or a refrigerator, and it all has to do with the temperature. I mean, currently it's at 26 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's trying to get down to -8 degrees Fahrenheit. When we first started, it was at 45 degrees Fahrenheit. It's cooling off relatively quick. So now what I want to do is I'm going to turn this off. I want to take it out. We're going to put it in the truck, and we're going to plug it into the port and see what that looks like on the screen over here, which it should essentially look exactly the same. All right, so we're out here in the cold, which is funny that I'm doing a review on a refrigerator freezer. However, this is the standard 2019 F250, and of course it's got the extended cab, not the crew cab. The seat is back. It's not all the way back, but it's where my wife has it set at normally, and there the cooler fits. Now when I close the door, this does push on it right here just a little bit and compresses that cushion, but other than that, it fits, and I'm sure that I could just reach back and grab whatever I wanted. Now, of course, we could put it up on the seat, but I kind of like it here because I know that this area here where the vent is going to have airflow underneath there. Let me go ahead and plug this in. First, I want to show you the cord, though. I'm going to tell you right now, they give you plenty of cord. This is all of, it's 10 foot for sure. It might be 12, but I think it's like close to 11 because I doubled it up, put it underneath my foot and stretched it out, and it didn't come up but to about here. And I'm 6 foot tall, 6 foot even. So this is definitely a generous amount of cord. You know, I don't need this much cord because I have a plug right here. And I got to turn the truck on for that to work. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. So you can see, came on right away with every other accessory in here. And let's see what it does here. Got a couple flashing lights. Looks like it's in a standby mode. So we'll go ahead and push the on button, hold it for a few seconds. And there it goes. We're on Eco, just where it was set before. It says we're 20 degrees inside there. Does not surprise me at all. First of all, it's cold out here. It's about 36. But inside here, I don't think that you're going to be able to see it, but this was already frosting up. There's already frost on the inside of these coils. So, yeah, drop down to 20. It does a really good job. I'm impressed with that. Let's go ahead and set it up on the max mode, which that would be, there we go, max. The nice thing, again, also we have a USB port, so you can charge something if you want. That could be what this area is for here, maybe a tablet or something. This is a hard plastic. All right, now let me tell you what I did here. I don't know if you can tell, it's a little bit scuffed up. I dropped it right there. I was trying to open the door at the same time, just this front door, and holding it up in the air and all that. Anyways, I dropped the edge of it. Now I caught it with my foot to some extent too, but this is pretty damn durable. It's a lot more durable than I thought it would be. I thought honestly we'd turn this on and I'd have all kinds of noise coming out of it, but it's very quiet. We can show you how that closes. It's back there, it's doing the job. It's locked as far as the settings are. Yeah, you can see back there. Easily be able to reach our drinks. Of course, if I put up this seat over here, I would have even more room. This is the long bench, but this will allow you to still take passengers if you want, if you have this kind of vehicle. And again, this is not a crew cab. This is a regular old extended cab. So what are my thoughts on this? Well, you've seen that we have had in the past, again, reviews that we've done on the really big refrigerator freezers. Some of them have been just like in our son's case, a refrigerator or a freezer, and it's relatively large. He's living out of his van, so that is his only way to keep his food, you know, his perishables cold. That's not big enough for what we wanted in this RV. So we got a bigger refrigerator freezer that's a separate compartment, freezer on one side, refrigerator on the other. But that's for extra storage of most likely freezer meat whenever we are full-time in the RV. What doesn't fit in the refrigerator here, we'll have that refrigerator freezer in the back of the RV most likely. We haven't figured out exactly where we're putting it. And that will keep what we can't fit in there. Everyday stuff there, freezer meats like we do at home for that. This one here would fit a niche that, like in our case, when we drive down the road, if I want a cold drink, it will be behind the seat, right behind Heidi. So I can just reach back there, grab what we want, drink, maybe even snacks, and we don't have to get into the RV. Even though it's easy to do, we don't have to pull over necessarily and do that. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be driving down the road, pulling an RV and eating a full course meal. But to have maybe an ice cream snack or something small. When you're traveling, you're trying to stay cool in the truck, but especially like with my old truck, there was a lot of times that I would turn the air conditioning off and I'd put the windows down so my truck wouldn't get heated up towing a big RV up a hill in the middle of the summer. So it's kind of nice that I have something to make sure our food doesn't melt, whatever we may bring with us, and our drinks are going to be cold. Both Heidi and I love to have water with us whenever we're traveling, but the thing that we find is we usually take water out of the freezer and put it throughout the truck, and then we've got, like in my case, I remember our trip to Florida in the old truck, my leg was dripped on constantly because the cup was, or the bottle was actually melting, the ice inside, and the condensation was just dripping off of the bottle and kind of making a mess. So it'll be kind of nice that we have, you know, nice cool water that's in the refrigerator to the temperature we want. So there's definitely a need for something like this. I like how small it is, I like how portable it is, and I like that I could use it in the truck. Alright, so let's get to the detail. The link is going to be down in the description. If you could, so I can continue to do videos like this, if you like this video, if you want to see more like this, click the link in the description and it'll take you right to Amazon for this exact product. Now, I don't know when you're watching this video. It could be years on down the road. They may have changed the design a little bit, but if you click the link, it'll at least get you to Amazon, and at that point, they may show something else comparable. But for the time being, action time right now, as far as this video, inside the description there should be a discount code. So when you do click on the Amazon link, once you're in there, you can put it in your shopping cart, and during the checkout process, put in the discount code and see how much money they give you. I mean, they're going to knock down some money. Sometimes it's up to 30% off. So that's really nice. That'll make a difference. I hope this helped you out making your decision. Again, check out my other videos on the reviews of the other refrigerators that we did. And as always, guys, we hope to see you out there. Bye.